Welcome to video about chapter number 5. As you can see, we are going deeper into the culture. And sorry about that, a bit of a cough. Anyway, so chapter 5, this is amazing. It deals with managing across cultures. And one of the things that I would like to tell you is, see, whenever you're managing across cultures or even interacting with people from different cultures, it's better to be a little bit submissive, meaning, kind of like take a role of student, okay? Don't, go over there, reading some books, like I was mentioning in the previous video that, hey, I know everything and, I'm here to wow them, impress them. Um, Instead, go with, yes, I do know something, show openness, show curiosity. So this way people would feel more connected to you. See, one of the ways you connect with people is not by showing people that, you are over here, you know everything, and they should just follow you blindly. That's not what it is. Um, it's kind of going with like a friend approach. Okay, when you're talking to your friends, of course, normal friends, you're not trying to prove anything. You're just, talking about stuff, right? You're not trying to show you're smart or anything like that. So I'm talking about real friends, okay? Um, because with this person, your interest is not to show anything. Your interest is, hey, I was checking this out, and what do you think about this, and things like that. So you're just talking generally. Um, so what you may want to do when you're dealing with anything in life, basically, let's see. All right, okay, it's coming up now. Is sorry, can not use PG-13 language because I want you to really understand this, because this is so important. Once you get it, you're going to realize that it's much better. Okay, so what you need to do is see, whenever we assume, this is what happens, right? Sorry, as I mentioned, it's not PG-13 language. It's you're making ass out of you and the other person. So instead of assuming as to that's how the person behaves, or you read in books and that's how it's supposed to be, instead ask, okay? Be open, show curiosity, and show interest in people. See, the number one thing people are interested in is this channel, WIIFM, sort of like what's in it for me. Or if you show interest in the other person, the other person is more likely to show interest in you. Watch the video by uh, Vanessa Van Edwards. That's about You Are Contagious. So look under Blackboard additional resources, you'll find a link to that. So the more interest we show in the other person, the more they feel connected to you. There's actually a Dale Carnegie story about, Dale Carnegie, he picked, this is a while back before Uber and Lyft. He landed in New York City and he was going to Long Island. And depending upon the traffic, I don't know how much you know about New York City. I used to live there from, let's say, JFK to Long Island, 2 o'clock at midnight. It's probably about an hour, 40 minutes to an hour, depending upon where you're going. But during regular times, it could easily turn out to be 2 to 3 hour, taxi ride, basically. Okay. So during this taxi ride, Dale Carnegie spoke very little. He was just showing interest in the cabbie. Now, here's, this awesome person, Dale Carnegie. This guy knows so much, and he's written books and how to win friends and influence people. And then there's the cabbie, okay? So after that 3 hour taxi ride, the cabbie felt that Dale Carnegie was the most amazing person in the world. Guess what? Dale Carnegie spoke very little. Okay. In case you don't know, check out, Google Dale Carnegie. So he talks about, how to win friends and influence people. That's a good book. And now there are better ways because it was written a long time ago. So the best way to manage people is to show interest in them. You show interest in them, they will more likely do things for you. And you'll have a much better relationship. So in also starting from this video on, what I'm doing is I'm embedding the password for the quiz into the video. All right. So the password for quiz number 5 is 5-letter word, 5-letter, and I'm giving you the first letter for that is H. H as in Harry. Okay. H as in Harry, H as in horse, so that's the first letter. So keep watching, you'll get the rest of the letters. This is a strategy to manage, how you guys are, watching those videos and things like that, right? So important to ask rather than assume things, and it's better to go one level below. What I mean by that is, the way you interact with people, this is like the Jinja skill, is you can either be dominating, you can be the leader, or you can be equal like friend, or you can be slightly lower like a student, okay? So when you want somebody to do something for you, or when you want to connect with people, it's a much better idea that you go in a little bit lower, subordinate, kind of like student level, where you're telling people what you know, as well as you're showing curiosity and interest in them, okay? So that's a much better way to start off. And once the conversation keeps going, then you can go to the equal level. And if the person is lower than you and you're in a different culture, let's say Middle East or India or China, people are not going to listen to you if you come across as a subordinate or a student level, lower level. You need to be at a higher level. So you have to give them a command. You have to tell them what to do. Then you go from the leader level. So by the way, check out the other videos for other Jinja skills. So anyway, so the chapter talks about how Renault manages. Renault, that's the Italian car company, it manages across cultures. So that's an interesting one. Check this out. Actually, the one about Apple and Xiaomi, I guess that's how it's pronounced, the Chinese smartphone maker, that's also a good video, good little bit, read that, that's good. And so we're talking about culture. So by the way, the second letter for your quiz is A, okay? A as an apple. All right, so ethnocentric, let me actually bring up the the chapter to show you something that's much more interesting here. So, what I was telling you about the Apple, is talking about managing across cultures, Apple versus Xiaomi, that's the Chinese one. All right, so what I wanted to show you is this one. So this is really interesting. The ethnocentric is, let's hope it works on this one. So you are actually looking at the culture from your home country point of view, okay? How does the company, how does the company look at the world? So it is trying to, use the home country's culture. That's how it operates in the world. And if you look at geocentric, going down there, geocentric is you're looking at the culture from a global point of view. That's how you manage things. And then polycentric is whichever country you go, you are looking at that country's, host country's culture, and you're adapting your products to that. Regiocentric is you're adapting the products to a region, okay, products and or services. Okay, so which one of this is the best? See, when you think about managing things, don't think in terms of, like what is the best. Think in terms of combination of things, because everything from one side may not work in all the situations. You got to pick pieces from different places. So geocentric actually works better when geocentric as well as ethnocentric works better when people are not really looking for customized products, okay? When people actually want the product, like, let's say Gucci, Chanel, the high-end, really good stuff, people are looking for that American experience or that global experience. They're not looking for the perfume to be customized to the local population, wherever it happens to be. So ethnocentric and geocentric is more about people looking for things that have are not changed. They're not looking for customized things. Okay. For polycentric and regiocentric, polycentric is more customized to local population. That typically works better for foods. Like if you look at McDonald's, McDonald's has standardized so many of its processes. Okay. But it tastes differently when you go to different countries. Like McDonald's doesn't serve beef or pork in India. They don't serve pork in Middle Eastern countries or Muslim countries. So they have customized it for the local population. Regiocentric is also similarly, but you're customizing it for a region. So something customized for the Middle East rather than Iran or Iraq or things like that. Okay. So if you look at how would you manage it? So for ethnocentric, top-down works better versus for polycentric, bottom-up works. Okay, so this is actually a good chart. So go through this and you'll find really interesting information. And also, whenever you're managing, doesn't matter whether it's in company or even when you're connecting people, instead of trying to have your agenda, which is you want to connect with them, the first step should be understand them. Once you understand people, you will be able to connect with them, and then you'll get the outcome. In the US, we are very much programmed to business first. Let's just forget about how many kids you have, how many dogs you have. Let's just get down to business and let's just do the deal. That's it. Versus in many other countries, people don't do business with somebody unless they feel a connection, unless they feel a sense of comfort, a sense of trust. Okay. In US, we have contracts. We have lengthy contracts. That's why we don't really care about liking and trusting the other person, because we know that we got contracts and things like that. Versus in other countries, many countries, Middle East, China, India, Africa, you have to develop the relationship first. Although things are changing quite a bit in most of the world is kind of becoming like US, and that also could be that a lot of students do MBA or do studies in the US, and then they go back and then they understand the culture. That could be one of the reasons. All right, so let's get back to this. And so, why is it important to understand? Because the world is becoming more and more interconnected. People want to experience the amazing things that the whole world has to offer. And at the same time, they want it on their terms, meaning they want the products to be customized to them. There are many shows that are super popular in the US. They get shipped to other countries and they are dubbed in the local language because people do want to enjoy it. If they don't understand the language, they probably can't, but so that's why it is translated in the local language. So we just discussed that. So it depends, depending upon the product or service. If people are looking for the American experience, guess what? You're not going to dilute or you're not going to customize the product for the local population. But if people are looking for products that suit the global or the local needs, then you want a company to be locally responsive. And then there is some other interesting concepts, which is the cultural cross-cultural differences and similarities. Parochialism is, you look at the world through your own eye. You look like, hey, I love, let's say, mac and cheese. Okay, why doesn't everybody in the world love mac and cheese? Things like that. So you're looking at, this is who I am, and you expect the world to be like that. And simplification is, you say, you know what, this works. Like, I love facts and figures, so I'm going to decide based on facts and figures. So I'm going to use that logic everywhere. Guess what? You go to Germany, people will actually love you if you're using facts and figures. But if you go to France, they don't care as much about facts and figures. They care about sort of drama, emotions, things like that. Versus you go to UK, they probably want you to be funny. They want you to make fun of yourself and fun of others. So again, you have to understand where you're going for your message to be more effective. And in this day and age, actually, you know, the more we are on Zoom and Skype, the more it's important for us to understand other people, because you're losing a lot of the nonverbal. Like, you know, if somebody is not comfortable, like when you're seeing the whole person, like you're just seeing me right from here, you don't really see, you know, how I'm sitting, whether I'm comfortable or not. So we're missing a lot of information. So right now it is more important to be kind of at the subordinate level and try to understand the person rather than kind of plow through what your ideas are. So similarities, and again, communication. I mean, various studies have found out that communication is actually a very good predictor of, so if you communicate with the workers, and there was a story about Hawthorne effect. By the way, this is time for the third letter for your quiz, and the third letter is I. I as an ice cream, okay? And if you don't remember the other letters, go back and you'll see the other letters. So again, as I said, the password is 5-letter word. And so far we have covered 3 letters, okay? And if you don't remember the first, you go back. So, all right, so Hawthorne effect, you know, so they were like, you know, trying to test or trying to improve the productivity of operations. So it was just manufacturing some kind of a widget, and so they, you know, kind of lowered the lights, increased the lights, put some music, you know, all kinds of things to see what would improve the workers' productivity. And what they found out is no matter what they did, whether they increased the sound, you know, put some good music, increase the lights, decrease the lights, the productivity was going up. And so researchers were surprised as to why this is happening. And again, I'm making this simple for the sake of giving you the concept. What they found out was the reason people were more productive was somebody was asking them questions. So somebody actually cared about them, to care to see, do you like more light? Do you like less light? Do you like music and all that? So because people cared, or managers cared about the employees, their productivity was going up. So along similar lines, when communication was, you know, where people, workers were communicated, Russia, Korea, then it's, you know, the productivity was going up. So communication does have a positive effect on people's perception of the company. It feels like, you know, you're treating me like a human being rather than just a number or, you know, something else. So again, you know, go to different cultures, you'll notice that people, there is one thing that is common, and that is that people love to connect with you. Okay, people are actually hungry for connection. See, people want them to understand you, or people want to be understood as well as they want to understand you. So go with an open mind. Here there is a difference comparing China, US, and Argentina, and you'll see, you know, along different lines. So if you see power distance, this probably might be a surprise, or, you know, there's not much power difference between US and China. In Argentina, as you see, it's lower over here. Then performance orientation. So again, people, even though we talk about collectivism, still performance does matter. It seems like it does matter everywhere. Uncertainty avoidance is how much structure you need. So in China, you know, they're not going to disagree with you on your face. So they would rather prefer a structure, follow the structure rather than confront someone. But US, we kind of are okay with confronting people, you know, having a dialogue. All right. So now this compares different cultures, And how would you manage in different countries? Like it talks about China, India, Middle East, other places. Again, as I mentioned, um, so the fourth letter for the password is for the quiz is R. R. R as in rabbit, Roger, red, whatever. Okay. Something keeps popping up on my computer. That's why I keep doing that. Um, okay. So China connections is important. Guangxi, that's the connection part. Kind of like, you might say it's nepotism, like who you know, kind of. And in US also, if you want to be, go at a top level, you do need connections. But in China, it starts at a much lower level. Then in Russia relationships. Again, look at this. Again, just pointing out the commonalities. India, um, so I'm looking for the relationship aspect over here. But again, the more you connect, the more you, Indians are surprisingly more tolerant of people that don't know the customs. The main reason for that is India is a very diverse country. What works in the north is not going to work in the south because, again, it's a very diverse country. It has tons of languages, and we're not talking different dialects. It's a completely different language. Even the alphabets are completely different. So it's a completely different animals. Every few hundred miles, you encounter different things. Again, we're not talking about dialects. We're talking about completely different languages. The food changes, the culture changes, the custom changes, everything changes. So people are already tolerant. Yeah, person from the other part of the country probably doesn't know how things work, but try not to be phony. Try not to just memorize a few words and pout them out. Just be, as I mentioned, be in the student mode, be open, be curious, and you'll realize you'll learn a lot more. Friends, social class status is very important. So if you're introduced by some royalty, somebody that was important, somebody that has an important social status, you probably would be received much better. Brazil, again, respect inherited wealth. What does that tell you? Again, connections. Arabic countries, again, it's about connections too. But again, there are other nuances also. See, social status, family connections. Um, so if you don't know what you're doing, be a student. Show curiosity, show openness, and people are more likely to, help you. And actually, you can even make fun of yourself. I'm just stupid person. I don't know too much about things. You can learn that way. And also, you could also teach them about you or your culture. This way, they can learn about. So this way, you're improving their lives as well. All right, so that's it about the managing across cultures. So a quick recap. Let me show you this one, this slide over here is very important. So look at this. And so the last letter, as I mentioned, there are 5. And the last letter is L, L as in Larry, okay? So I'm not going to repeat what the 5 letters were. So rewind if you missed any of those. So it's the password for quiz number 5 is a 5-letter word, and it starts with an H. So let's just do that, and ends with an L. L as in Larry, lion, whatever you want to call it. So culture is an amazing, interesting phenomena. The best way to understand is to be open and curious. So instead of having your goal, your agenda at the forefront, understand the other person, and then you'll automatically get your goal. So when, let's say, you go to China or India or Middle East, and there is no business meeting for a day or two because they want to get to know you. So when they're showing you their temples and they're, taking you for lavish dinners and all that, assuming it's a big, important contract, they are actually trying to get to know you. They are trying to see whether is this the person I can trust and feel comfortable doing business with. Okay. So you might be thinking, why is this person taking me to this stupid temple? And the food is so hot. I'm just sweating bullets here. But no, they are trying to actually get to know you better. Okay. So that's how some of the best companies do business. And so once you have that connection, then you're more likely to be able to get the business. Okay. So understand and be, be a student, be open, be curious. So instead of assuming things, and again, especially true for even China, India, many different parts, they might have different customs. So it's much better to go in slightly lower and try to understand them. And if you show interest in them, I have told you the Dale Carnegie story, people would be interested in you too. All right, so, if you want, feel free to watch it again. And, there's a password for quiz number 5 in this. All right, so all the best for the quiz, and I'll see you in future videos. All right, bye.